Dad crashed my car, my parents refused to share theirs, and now I'm stranded trying to bike an hour each way to work. I, 21 male, have been living at my parents' house due to recent life events. We have a pretty good relationship, but of course we have our moments. Well, about a week ago, my mom was at work and my dad needed to run by the store. He couldn't wait until mom got back, so he asked to borrow my car. I agreed to let him have it as I didn't have anything Jay needed to do right then. Well, about 40 minutes later I get a call from him saying he had been in an accident. Of course that scared the shit out of me and I made sure he was okay first. He said he was fine and explained the accident. Long story short, he ran a stop sign and smacked straight ahead into another vehicle. Luckily, no one got seriously injured. Except my car. It's busted up pretty bad. Without going into much detail, the bumper, headlights, hood, and parts of the engine are messed up. I got my car in the shop and I'm still waiting on the estimated time it will take for me to get it back. Until then though, I need a car to get to and from work. And that's where the problem is. See, me and my mom have different work schedules but similar enough to where I could see us working something out. She usually goes in an hour earlier than me and gets off about 30 minutes before me. I figured I could drop her off, go to work, then pick her up. Well, my mom hates that idea. She says that she doesn't want to have to rely on me to pick her up or get her to work on time. She said since she wasn't involved in the accident she shouldn't be affected by the consequences. I told her it would just be until I got my car back, but she didn't care. I was expecting Dad to back me up, seeing as he's the reason I got into this mess. But instead he just agreed with her and said I should find a different way. The problem is, there is no different way. There's no good public transportation system in our town and we live about 45 minutes away from where I work. My dad then suggested I bike to work, which I quickly shut down. I'd rather not have to bike all the way to and from work every day when we could literally just share a car. I told them it was unfair for them not to let me use their car since Dad crashed mine. Then they said I was just being ungrateful as they were already putting a roof over my head and I shouldn't expect much more from them. I have no idea where they even thought I was being ungrateful. All I'm saying is, why would I choose a harder, more time-consuming way to work when there is an easier option? Am I being unreasonable? I feel like at the least Dad could convince Mom to let me use their car since this is his fault. Update 1. My parents ended up paying for the expenses to have my car fixed. We did also end up sharing a car until I had mine's back. After that I thought it was done and over. My mom made a comment about it here and there, but it didn't seem to seriously bother her. Until about a week and a half ago. She demanded that I pay them all the money for my car expenses back. She said it wasn't fair, she lost money to an accident she didn't cause. And I think that's fair, but I reminded her that I didn't cause it either. Dad caused the accident and I told her I'm sorry that it ended up affecting her as well. But that didn't change the fact my car had to be fixed and it was Dad's responsibility. She got really mad at that and started on a rant about how it was unfair and I was using them for money. And what was my dad's response to all this? He just agreed with her. I ended up just telling her what I've already said because there was honestly nothing else to say. She's been very upset with me since then. But she never mentioned any possibility of kicking me out. So imagine my surprise a couple days ago when I came home to all of my stuff being outside of the house in boxes. Literally on the curb. I was honestly shocked and mad about this and I immediately went in the house to question my parents about this. My mom said that she was tired of letting someone so ungrateful live in her house. My dad just repeated what my mom said, but in a kinder way because I guess he thought she was being harsh. I couldn't believe it. I asked her to explain how I've been being ungrateful and she responded by basically saying we raised you. We went back and forth for a bit and we were both pretty mad at each other. Then my mom told me to leave the house or else she would call the police on me. I have no idea if anything actually would have came of that situation. But at that point I was so confused and angry that I just went outside and called around to find someone I was able to stay with. I ended up sleeping at a friend's house. It's been a couple days now and siblings have both been calling me. I guess my parents must have told them what happened. I'm assuming it was specifically my mom bad talking me to them. My sister agrees with my mom and says I should have just paid the money back. My brother agrees that it was unfair for them to kick me out, but also says I should have just paid the money back. My dad has also been trying to reach me, but honestly I've just been too mad to pick up the phone for him. I'm just so shocked by the whole situation. I wouldn't say me and my parents' relationship has always been easy street, but it's never been this bad. I honestly thought we were good until all this. The worst part is I was planning to move out and rent an apartment with a friend once their lease was up in 2 months. My parents knew that and still decided to do this. I'm just so confused and I don't understand where they're coming from. I get they raised me and took care of me and all that, but I just feel like that doesn't give them the right to do this all of a sudden. I don't think I did anything wrong. Update 2. Some things have happened since my last post. I calmed down a bit and decided to finally answer one of my dad's calls. He started talking about how afraid he was that I was never going to talk to them again. Then he said that things weren't supposed to go that way the other day and apologized for mom putting my stuff outside. Apparently the plan was to talk to me about it first, but he said mom got caught up in her emotions. When I asked why he didn't step in, he said it was because he didn't want to upset her anymore. I didn't really want to accept that excuse, but I took it so we could move forward. That was until I got another call from my brother. Mom's been absolutely shit talking me to him and my sister. Apparently she kept comparing me to them and how good they're doing, mind you they're both older than me by several years. Then she went on a rant about how much harder it's been to raise me compared to them. At one point he says she even insinuated that I was a mistake. Though he says to take that with a grain of salt as she didn't outright say it. My brother was uncomfortable with listening to her talk about me so harshly and he decided to call and tell me. I'm feeling a mix of emotions about all this right now. Part of me is still mad about the whole suddenly kicking me out thing. But I'm mostly just sad about it all. Knowing that my mom is saying all this stuff behind my back only makes me think she really means it. And whether she outright said it or not, hearing that she thinks I'm a mistake honestly crushed my soul. I don't understand why still, but I guess she has her reasons. I don't really want to talk to her again, but I do really want to know the truth of why she feels this way about me. I'm not sure about Dad yet. I'm not the type to cut people off, and having to do it to one person is already too much for me. I'm still staying with my friend as of now until I figure out what I'm doing. Update 3. First, I went back home the other day to grab some important things I needed. I waited to go back over there until I knew my mom would be at work and tried to make it quick cause I didn't particularly want to see my dad either. While I was in there I did tell him what mom had said about me. He did seem shocked she would say that to me or my siblings. But when I asked if this is the first time she's ever said that, he admitted that she's told him that more than a few times. When asked if he knew why, he just told me she has her reasons but they're not my fault. I tried to get him to explain more, but that's really as far as he would go. I don't really know how I should feel about that, but I just went with it. I asked if that's how he felt about me too. He said it's not and that he loves me. It hasn't really felt like that's true and I wanted to say that to him, but I just ended up saying okay. I told him I'm cutting mom completely off and him too for now. After that I took my stuff and left. Fast forward to a couple days ago, I got a very angry series of messages from my sister about how horrible I am for turning our brother against our mom. She said I made mom cry and that I should be ashamed of myself. Needless to say I had no idea what she was talking about. As far as I knew my brother wasn't against anyone in this situation, so I was just confused. I tried to ask her to explain, but I should know by now that I never get an answer from that. So instead I called my brother to ask him directly. Apparently mom found out that I knew about what she said. I'm assuming dad told her. Then she called my brother and screamed at him for going behind her back and telling me. To which he responded that she was the only one saying things behind people's backs and that she was being unreasonably mean to me for no real reason. He told her she should get her priorities straight and go yell at dad for causing this whole thing. Then he told her not to call him again if all she was going to do was yell about someone or something. I honestly wasn't expecting that from my brother. He's not the type to step into conflict if he doesn't have to. But obviously her yelling at him set him off. I'm not trying to say I'm happy she did that, but I'm happy my brother responded the way he did. Obviously she cares more about what he thinks than she does me. I told my brother about what dad says and he agrees. His response feels weird. I asked if he possibly knows why since he's a bit older than me, but he's just as shocked about this all as I am. He also said he would talk to my sister about everything and get her to back off. So now I'm waiting to see how things go with that. Like I said before, I'm not the type to cut people off, but if my mom is just going to use my sister to talk to me, I'm going to block her too. Also, as far as housing goes, I decided to take my friend up on his offer and stay until my other friend's lease is up. That's the update for now. Update 4. I had a conversation with my dad a few days ago. My brother and I talked him into giving me a better response than mom has her reasons. I just wanted to know why or if mom had any reason for saying what she said. And he finally told me. The story according to dad is him and my mom were in their late 30s/early 40s when they found out mom was pregnant again. Which I did know and after reading some comments thought might be contributing to this whole thing. At the time they had decided that they were fine with just my siblings and were done having children. So it wasn't the best surprise to them. But they didn't have any option but to go along with it. Apparently the pregnancy was super hard for my mom. He said she was always in and out of the hospital. It put a lot of stress on my parents and they had to worry about mom's life and mine. Eventually mom began feeling some type of resentment. Dad even said that mom started to question if the pregnancy being so bad was a sign God didn't want her to have me. And the birth was apparently also very traumatic for her. She ended up having to give birth prematurely due to complications and lost a lot of blood during the process. Which led to more pain and resentment. Dad said mom had a hard time connecting with me as a baby and that she said it didn't feel right. Then when I was a kid I had some health issues which added more stress onto their plate. So mom eventually started believing that God had made some type of mistake and accidentally punished them with me. I want to say that hearing that did make me sad for mom. And I do feel bad for what she went through to bring me into this world. But at the same time I didn't choose for her to do that, so to get blamed for it seems unfair. They had a decision to prevent this if they didn't want it. And they actively chose not to. Or at least dad did, as in his own words he doesn't believe in contraception. He did also mention another reason though. Mom never wanted me to move back into the house. She had been waiting so long for the house to be empty already. So was angry at the thought of me staying at home once again. He said she always thought my reasoning was stupid and that I was overreacting. Dad ended up convincing her to let me stay for a little while though. Though I think dad believes the same. He just didn't want to seem bad. I'm not going to go into too much detail about why I moved back in. But to sum it up, My abusive ex tried to literally kill me. So I had to find a new place to stay quick, and at the time everything was too expensive for me. Plus none of my friends lived nearby then, so my parents were the best choice, and I thought they were fine with it. I've never seen it as a point of tension between us, but I will say that my dad's made fun of me more than a few times for it. I assume that's what mom's view is too on it. That it's a stupid excuse. So that's what my dad says mom's reasoning for all this is. And he's as close as I can get to asking her directly, so I'm going to have to take his word for it. After hearing all of this, I'm not really sure what to make of it. I wouldn't say it helped, and honestly has made me feel a bit worse somehow. But I'm stupid for looking for an answer in the first place. I've been so stressed and confused and sad lately that I probably just would have done better accepting the woman may have hated me for no reason. But now that I've gotten that, I'm still cutting off my mom, dad, and my sister because she still won't even listen to me. Her and my mom are still harassing me, and I'm just not even in a state of mind to deal with it all anymore. I know I said I'm not the cutting off type, but I realized I'm going to feel horrible either way. So why not just remove myself? Obviously they've never wanted me around anyways. And a bit of an update on my current situation. My friends have still been supporting me and helping me through all this, which I cannot be more grateful for, because if it wasn't for them I honestly don't know if I could handle all this. In worse news, my job let me know I was being let go. Which isn't related to this situation at all, but just feels like a kick in the face. I don't know what I did to piss the universe off, but obviously things aren't going in my favor. So my plan is still to stay with my friend and get an apartment with another one once their lease is up in 2 months, but now I just also have to find another job. Anyways, that's the update. I'm sorry it's so long, but so much has happened and been said. I'm feeling absolutely terrible right now, and I'm just trying to get past all this. Hopefully in a couple months I can come back and update you with more positive news. Also, thank you for all the extremely kind and encouraging comments and messages everyone has been sending. Reading through the advice and people who have gone through similar experiences truly has helped. I couldn't be more thankful. Update 5. It's been a while since I updated on my situation. A few people have been asking if I'm alright and if things have gotten better. So I decided to just make another post about what's currently happening. For starters, I still haven't talked to my mom over the past few months. From the few things I have heard, though, she has begun acting like I don't even exist. She stopped bringing me up so much when talking to my siblings. She's apparently gotten rid of any photos that have me in them. Then she started referring to my siblings as her only 2 children. Especially my brother, who she keeps making it a point to call her only son. My brother is tired of arguing back and forth with her, so he ignores whenever she says stuff like that, and honestly I don't really mind her doing any of that. It hurts of course, but it's right on track with everything else she's said and done the past few months. Plus it's really only fair since I haven't talked to her. I haven't talked to my dad either. I do know he has asked my brother about me a few times. Part of me does feel bad for not talking to him. I have a feeling though that if I did talk to him again, a lot of it would be about how I should try and talk to mom, and I don't want to do that. As for my sister, I actually have spoken to her. My brother finally convinced her the whole situation wasn't totally my fault. So we've talked a little bit. Not a whole bunch, but it's something. And when it comes to my brother, I believe these last few months have been the most I've talked to him. It's been great. I feel like our relationship is better than it's ever been. And having at least one person from my family on my side has made things easier. My living situation has also gotten better. I did manage to secure a new job after I lost mine. A couple of months ago, me and my friend did move in together. Which has been going great. And just my friends in general have been supporting me throughout all this. Been going through a rough patch mentally lately. Not only because of the whole getting kicked out thing, but a combination of stuff that happened before and after that. So just having people there to take my mind off of stuff has helped a lot actually. So that's the update. My situation has improved quite a bit. My life is less chaotic now. Feeling emotionally drained still, but I assume that will change over time. And also, thanks for the kind messages and check-ins people have been sending me. I've been off of here for a little while, so coming back to that was nice. Update 6. I really thought things were finally calming down for me, and then everything decided to stack on top of each other again. It started with a thick envelope that showed up at my apartment with my full name printed big on the front. It was from some law office I'd never heard of. I almost didn't open it cause I figured it was some junk about a credit card, but I did, and it was about the accident. Not the bill from the shop or some leftover fee, an actual notice that the other driver was officially suing me, my dad, and my mom. Apparently because I'm the registered owner and I gave permission. And because dad was the driver. And mom got tossed on there cause her name is on their policy, and I guess lawyers just toss every name they can on paper first. I froze a little staring at it. I kept thinking there had to be a mistake. We did insurance, we paid, the car was fixed, but the letter said the other driver ended up needing some kind of shoulder procedure and missed work, and they were coming after all of us for it. I called my insurance and sat through the longest hold music of my life. Then when I finally got a person, she said my policy was reinstated now, but I had a lapse that exact week because my payment didn't go through for some stupid bank reason. Which means the policy with me was technically not active on the day dad ran the stop sign. She said since dad had his own insurance they might pick it up because he had permission to drive it, but it wasn't guaranteed. She told me not to talk to the other side and that their legal team would coordinate with his legal people and I'd get assigned a defense attorney too. It sounded like words until she hung up and I was just staring at this paper that had my name next to the words defendant. I didn't even want to call my dad about it, but I did because I had to. He answered right away and his voice was small. He said he got it too and he was sorry and he knows he made this mess and he's going to handle it. Then he asked if we could meet at the insurance office because the lady there wanted statements from both of us. I agreed cause leaving it to him to tell the story made my stomach hurt. We sat side by side in these hard chairs under fluorescent lights like we were at a dentist office instead of talking about a lawsuit. He kept rubbing at his wedding ring and I kept picking at a hangnail. The insurance lady was nice-ish but very direct. She asked if I gave him permission to drive my car. I said yes. She asked if I was in the car. I said no. She asked if I knew his driving history. I hesitated because I didn't want to jump on him but also I wasn't going to lie so I said he's gotten tickets before and I knew that. Dad was quiet and then he cleared his throat and said that he ran the stop sign. He said it was my fault. The lady nodded and typed for so long I thought she was writing a book. I thought that would be it. But later that week I got called in for a deposition. So did my dad. It was in this bland conference room with a plate of cookies in the middle like that would make it less weird. The other side's lawyer read back part of Mom's recorded statement and I swear the air went out of the room. The lawyer said your mother stated you were a reckless driver and that your father was anxious because of the way you drive and that you had a history of ignoring signs. Is that accurate? I looked at my dad and he was staring at the table like the wood grain had secrets. I said no and that felt like the most depressing word I've ever said. Because no, I'm not a reckless driver. And also no, it's not accurate that she knows me at all right now. After, in the parking lot, my dad kept saying I didn't know she said that, I wouldn't have let her say that, and I just shrugged because my brain was buzzing. He asked if I could come by the house to grab the rest of my boxes because they were cleaning out the garage. I told him I wasn't going in if she was there. He promised she wouldn't be. When I got there the next day it was quiet. The garage smelled like dust and motor oil. There were only 3 boxes left with my name sharpied on them. One had old school stuff, one had random wires and chargers I somehow hoard, and one was baby stuff. I didn't even know we still had it. There was a blanket with small ducks and my hospital bracelet and a folded up note tucked in the bottom like it crawled there. It had my mom's handwriting on the outside in the neat way she used to label everything. It said for later. I don't know what later she meant but I sat down on the concrete and read it anyway. It was written in the middle of the night from the way she described the clock and how quiet the house was. She wrote about being scared of me. Not in a horror way. In a way where she was afraid of failing me. Afraid she was broken because she didn't feel what she felt like she was supposed to feel. She wrote that she prayed and she felt nothing. She wrote that she was mad at her body and mad at God and she didn't want to be. Then the sentences got messy and it turned into lists of things she did that day, like she was trying to prove she was doing it right. And then at the end it said I hope one day I can read this and laugh at myself for being dramatic. I hope I love you the way you deserve. I don't know why I can't right now and I hate that more than anything. I read it twice and then I just sat there until I couldn't sit there anymore. I took the bracelet and the note and put the blanket back. On my way out my dad was in the kitchen making coffee he wasn't going to drink. He asked me if I wanted to stay for a minute and I said no and then I asked him why Mom would say that about me to a lawyer. He didn't answer right away. He said something that made my stomach twist. He said it's easier for her to rewrite you into something she can live with than to deal with how she actually feels. Then he said he started going to the counseling EAP through his job. He said he was bad at it because he just keeps telling the story instead of saying how he feels about the story. He asked me if I would consider coming to a session with him one day. I told him maybe. I didn't promise anything. While all this was going on my grandma fell and broke her hip. My brother texted me and I went to the hospital because grandma is grandma. Mom was there when I walked in and she looked right past me to say hi to my brother and then stepped out like she forgot why she'd come. Grandma reached for my hand like she was grabbing at sunlight. She called me by my baby nickname and asked me if I was eating. She told me with her little voice that she keeps a picture of me with birthday cake on my nose in her Bible. When she got discharged she made me come by the house and drink tea. She shuffled to the china cabinet and pulled out a wooden recipe box and tucked something underneath it into my hands. It was an envelope with more of Mom's handwriting, not a letter this time. It was a photo of me and Mom when I was maybe 2 and a sticky note stuck to the back with I do love him written on it. The date was scribbled in the corner and it was from the year after I was born. My grandma said calmly that after I was born she begged my mom to get help and that Mom went twice and then stopped because the pastor told her to lean into prayer harder. I didn't know what to do with that. I don't hate prayer, I just hate that it got used like medicine and medicine got treated like sin. The lawsuit part sorted itself out more than I expected. Dad's insurance ended up picking up the claim even though the car wasn't on their policy because he was the driver and they said something about a non-owned auto and the umbrella policy through his work. I don't pretend to understand it. A lawyer our insurance hired sat me down and explained that the other side was going to bark bigger than they'd bite and that the insurance companies would talk numbers. He said I might have to show up to one more thing and then probably it would settle. It did. No one told me the number cause I guess they don't have to. What had happened is Mom sent a message to my sister that I ruined their premiums for the next decade and then my sister forwarded it to me and said she told Mom to stop. And for once she actually did tell her to stop. It felt weirdly like a win even in the middle of all that. Work-wise, I've been doing better. The new job I got a while back moved me from doing just the regular shift to training new hires because apparently I'm consistent, which made me laugh because if you ask the universe it would say I'm the least consistent person on earth. My friend and I finally got a couch that isn't from the curb and we got a dog together. He's a floppy mutt with one ear that never stands up and we named him Bumper because I have a dark sense of humor and my friend thinks he's cute when he tilts his head. I've slept better with him on the floor next to me than I have in months. The weirdest night was 2 weeks ago at like 2 a.m. when my phone lit up with a voicemail from a number I didn't know. It was my mom. I don't know why it didn't come through as her contact. Maybe she called from the house phone. She sounded like she'd just woken up or hadn't slept at all. She said she saw me at the grocery store earlier and I didn't see her and that I looked fine, and then she started crying and said I don't know what to do with this and I don't know how to fix what I did, and then she said my name like she was tasting it and the message cut off. The next morning my sister texted that mom had some kind of panic episode and dad had to take her to urgent care and she was going to stay with my aunt for a few days. I didn't call her. I texted my dad and told him to make sure she was safe. He sent back I will and nothing else. I carried my phone around for days after like it was going to explode. Me and my brother took grandma to her follow-up and he told me casually in the parking lot that he told mom he's done with the weird comments about me. He said she can be mad but she doesn't get to drag me with her. I hugged him in the middle of the lot and some lady in a minivan honked at us for taking too long to move out of the way. Then he told me he's getting engaged this winter and my first thought was oh my god, a family event, and my second thought was I'm genuinely happy for him. He said if I go, he's telling people up front that if they have a problem with me being there they can stay home. I told him I'm not going to ruin his day. He said I'm part of his day. It made me want to cry and I will not admit if I did or not. I did something for myself too. I started therapy. I don't know why I waited so long. I think the idea of saying all of this out loud to a stranger in a small room made it feel more real than it already was. The first session I did exactly what my dad said he does. I told the story like it was a book report and didn't say once how it made me feel. The therapist smiled like she knew my trick and asked me where in my body I feel it when I say I was a mistake. I stared at her like she'd grown a second head and then I realized my hands hurt from clenching. The second session I didn't bring a timeline. I brought the note from the baby box. I said I don't know what to do with a version of my mom who wrote both I hope I love you and you're the problem in the same lifetime. My therapist said 2 things can be true and also something can be true for someone else and still not be my job to carry. I wrote that down in my phone as soon as I left like it was homework. This is getting long so I'll end it here. I don't know if me and my mom will ever talk. I don't know if I want to. I keep thinking of that note in the box and the voicemail at 2 a.m. and both feel like different people. My dad keeps going to counseling and he sends me a picture of the waiting room fish every time for some reason. I told him I'll go sit with him one day and I think I will. I'm tired but for the first time in a long time I don't feel like I'm waiting for the ceiling to fall. I get up, I feed Bumper, I go to work, I come home to a friend who actually asks me how I am and means it. And I don't have to walk on eggshells in my own kitchen. That feels like something.